I was late for work, again, and jogging down the street with a half-eaten simmet in one hand when the sky decided to open up like a glowing zipper. A seam of blue-white light cut across the air above the parking lot, humming like an overloaded microwave. I froze, partly because it was incredible, partly because I was calculating the odds that I was hallucinating from too much instant coffee. Then the seam widened, folded inward, and a sphere of shimmering light drifted out, landing right in front of me with a gentle plop that somehow felt insulting for something so dramatic. The sphere dissolved, revealing a woman standing with the kind of confidence that suggested she had never once tripped over her own shoelaces. She looked human, almost perfectly so, except for the long, tapering ears that lifted slightly when her eyes met mine. Her hair flowed like it had its own gravitational field, and her gaze held the calm assurance of someone who absolutely knew what she wanted. Unfortunately, what she wanted seemed to be me. She stepped forward, and her ears perked in this oddly cute way that made me feel like I was about to be adopted by an intergalactic elf. "Human," she said, voice ringing with a strange musical cadence. "I choose you." I blinked. "Like a Pokemon." Her ears twitched. "I'm not familiar with that clan." Before I could explain the cultural significance of pocket monsters, she lifted a small device from her belt and tapped it. A holographic seal spun above her palm, displaying symbols that looked like calligraphy drawn by a caffeinated squid. "By order of the House of Ariel, first of the celestial courts, you are now my husband." I swallowed my bite of simmet so fast I nearly ascended spiritually. "Okay, so, completely wild idea, but have you maybe abducted the wrong guy? I'm not exactly husband material. I once burned pasta. Twice." She considered this seriously, as if burned pasta were a quality listed in a husband database. "Your imperfections are acceptable." "Acceptable," I repeated, mostly to confirm I'd heard correctly. "Like a dented refrigerator." Before she could clarify, the device in her hand pulsed, and the air around us shimmered. A distortion field expanded, bending the world into a wobbling whirlpool of colors. My feet lifted off the ground, which was rude because nobody had asked if I enjoyed spontaneous levitation. She wrapped her fingers around my wrist, warm, steady, surprisingly gentle, and the world snapped into darkness. When light returned, I stood inside what looked like the lovechild of a cathedral and a spaceship. Towers of metallic glass stretched upward, each humming with streams of floating energy. Holographic constellations drifted like living murals. A giant window opened to space, a vast ocean scattered with star whales gliding past as if this was just another Tuesday. I tried to maintain dignity and failed instantly. "Okay, that's actually incredible. Do you guys sell postcards?" She turned toward me, her ears gliding back smoothly. "This is the docking hall of my family's sky palace. You will be safe here." "Safe from what?" I asked, which was a mistake because the universe loves rewarding curiosity with anxiety. "From those who will question our union," she said calmly. "My union with you." I rubbed my temples. "About that, why me? I'm not wealthy, I'm not genetically enhanced, I don't even floss consistently." She studied me for a moment longer than comfort allowed. "I saw you weeks ago." My brain short-circuited. "You were watching me." "Yes." "You were carrying a small, injured bird across your marketplace, arguing loudly with a vendor about why he should give you a free box to transport it." I groaned. I wasn't arguing loudly, I was negotiating passionately. Her ears curled in amusement. "Your noise was impressive. It suggested strength of character." "Pretty sure it suggested, I don't understand indoor voices." But she stepped closer, and something softened in her eyes. "You were gentle with the creature. Our traditions value such compassion, and so I chose you." A line of lights blinked across the hall floor, then a floating orb drifted down, projecting a message in crisp alien script. She read it, and her expression tightened. "The Queen Mother has learned of our arrival. Is that good news?" She hesitated. "She may not be pleased." A chill crawled up my spine. When you say not pleased, are we talking mild disappointment? Or more like royal family reality show meltdown? She looked away, ears lowering. My mother does not believe humans are fit consorts. She may attempt to void our bond. I exhaled slowly. Great, so your mom already hates me. That's fine, normal, totally relaxing. You need not fear, she said, touching my arm with unexpected warmth. I will protect you. I stared at her long, elegant ears, the flicker of determination in her expression, and the golden glow of alien starlight reflecting off her features. Somewhere between terror and awe, a small realization settled in. I had just been drafted into a cosmic marriage by a beautiful, long-eared alien, and the mother-in-law wanting to vaporize me was only the beginning. The Sky Palace's corridors stretched endlessly, lined with shifting silver panels that rippled like water whenever I walked too close. My new alien wife, who still hadn't told me whether wife was the correct translation or if I was technically some kind of ceremonial pet, led me down a long passage glowing with soft blue light. Her long ears angled forward, alert, as if listening to distant voices traveling through the metal. I, on the other hand, was listening to the frantic sound of my own heartbeat and quietly praying that her mother wouldn't vaporize me on sight. Ideally, I'd survive long enough to at least learn my wife's middle name. A group of guards awaited us at the end of the hall, their armor polished until it reflected my worried expression back at me. They bowed to her, then glanced at me with the kind of politeness reserved for someone who might explode if startled. One of them handed me a shimmering robe, which immediately attached itself to my shoulders like an affectionate octopus. It customizes to your aura, one guard said. My aura's mostly anxiety and carbs, I muttered, but the robe still seemed pleased with itself, glowing faintly. My wife placed her palm against a grand arched door, and the metal unfolded with an elegant sigh. Inside waited a throne room carved from crystal and starlight. The air tingled, thick with energy. At the far end, seated on a throne that floated several meters above the floor as if chairs were beneath her, sat the Queen Mother. I had expected someone intimidating. I had not expected someone whose ears were so long they swept gracefully past her shoulders, shimmering with embedded gemstones that made her look like a cross between a monarch and a cosmic fashion icon. Her eyes narrowed the moment they landed on me, and I felt spiritually inspected. So this is the human, she said, and every word vibrated through the chamber as if the walls were gossiping about me. I cleared my throat. Hello, Your Majesty. Big fan of your floating furniture. The Queen Mother blinked once. He attempts humor. My wife stepped defensively in front of me, ears angled sharply. Mother, the bond is made. I chose him. And your choice threatens our lineage. The Queen Mother descended from her throne not by stepping down but by drifting forward like gravity was an optional suggestion. Humans are fragile, short-lived, unpredictable. And this one smells faintly of bread. I had breakfast, I whispered. It was emotional. She circled me like a scientist inspecting a strange new species. His posture is uneven. His energy signature is erratic. His garments are earth-made, and his hair appears messy. It's called natural, I said. It's very on trend. My wife reached out, taking my hand in hers, grounding me with that quiet warmth she always radiated. He is mine, she said, and I will not yield. The Queen Mother's ears stiffened in shock. You dare defy the throne. I dare defend my bond. The subtle tremor in my wife's voice was not fear, but fury. I squeezed her hand gently. Just to check. This isn't the part where I have to duel someone, right? Because the last time I fought anyone was in kindergarten, and I lost to a kid who thought glue was a beverage. Silence, human, the Queen Mother commanded, though not unkindly. More like someone telling a small robot to power down before it electrocuted itself. She lifted a crystalline rod. Light spiraled from it, forming a holographic glyph in the air. By sacred law, cross-species unions must undergo the echo trial. If he fails, the bond dissolves. I leaned toward my wife. Echo trial sounds friendly. Like an audition or a singing competition. It measures the authenticity of your spirit, she whispered. Oh, so more stressful. The Queen Mother gestured, and a platform rose beneath our feet. A dome of luminous ribbons spiraled upward, enclosing us. My heart thudded loudly enough that the guards outside probably heard it. A beam of starlight descended, weaving through our joined hands. I felt warmth, then pressure, then a rush of images not my own. Alien cities floating above oceans. A childhood memory of my wife learning to control her levitation, wobbling like a startled balloon. Her laughter echoing through a garden that shimmered with bioluminescent flowers. Then something shifted. The beam deepened, probing my memories, awkward teenage years, failed kitchen experiments, that one time I tried yoga and accidentally kicked over a scented candle display. My wife's ears flicked in amusement. The Queen Mother watched intently, her expression cracking just slightly. His spirit is chaotic. That's just how humans operate, I said. We come preloaded with emotional turbulence. The beam pulsed, bright and sharp. A wave of energy swept through me, knocking my feet out from under me, but my wife caught me before I hit the platform. The holographic ribbons rippled, absorbing the shock. He endures, she whispered, almost in awe. The Queen Mother's eyes widened by a fraction. Impossible. Humans are not built for this. Ma'am, I gasped. I once survived drinking vending machine coffee at 3 a.m. I can handle anything. The light slowly faded, the dome dissolving into faint sparks. When the platform lowered, the Queen Mother regarded us in silence, her long ears twitching with calculations. The Echo trial acknowledges the bond, she finally said. But do not mistake this for acceptance. I will not allow this union to upend centuries of order. There will be consequences. My wife stood tall beside me. Then we faced them together. The Queen Mother swept away without another word, leaving the air buzzing with unspoken threats. I turned to my wife. So, good news or bad news? She sighed softly. Both. Fantastic, I muttered. Exactly the emotional cocktail I wanted today. And as the guards escorted us out of the chamber, I couldn't help thinking that surviving a cosmic mother-in-law was going to be a lot harder than surviving interstellar travel. Our escape from the Sky Palace was not exactly dignified. The emergency corridor lights were flashing red, alarms howling like confused alien wolves, and I was running in a robe that kept fluttering dramatically behind me as if trying to audition for its own show. My wife kept dragging me forward with surprisingly strong hands, her long ears angled back as she listened to the palace guards spreading out behind us. Apparently, the Queen Mother didn't appreciate our refusal to quietly accept our marriage being treated like a cosmic typo. A docking bay door slid open and revealed a sleek transport ship, smooth silver plating, luminescent lines, and a cockpit that seemed determined to look cooler than anything a human could design. The ship's AI flickered on the moment we stepped inside, projecting a round floating face with animated eyebrows. Welcome aboard, it chirped. Please fasten emotional seatbelts. Physical ones are optional. I dropped into a seat. I'm not emotionally prepared for any of this. Perfect, the AI said. You'll fit right in. My wife took the pilot's controls, glancing back at me. We must reach the archives on the border world. The truth lies there. Truth about what? I asked, because at this point I'm working with like 4 brain cells. She hesitated, about why my mother fears our bond. The ship shot into the stars with a jolt so powerful, it forced a very undignified squeak out of me. Space blurred past, streaks of light bending into ribbons. I held on, trying not to think about how I was legally married to a woman who could probably bench press a starship. When we arrived, the border world hung beneath us like a fractured pearl, cracked, glowing with ancient energy. The planet's surface was dotted with ruins of a civilization older than her people. We descended into the heart of a giant temple-like structure, where floating platforms carried us across a chasm lit by green plasma rivers. It was beautiful in a might vaporize you instantly kind of way. The deeper we went, the more uneasy she became. Her ears lowered slightly as if remembering a story told in childhood. We were taught humans were once our enemies, she said quietly. Dangerous, chaotic, but the truth was hidden. In the center of the chamber, a massive hologram activated, a swirling recreation of events from millennia ago. It showed humans and her people not at war but working together, building, creating, sharing knowledge. Then something shifted, an explosion of cosmic energy, a rift tearing between worlds. The hologram showed her ancestors sealing the rift, fearing it would reopen through bonds that united their species too closely. My wife's voice trembled. The Queen Mother fears that our bond may reawaken the ancient breach. But she hides that the rift was never caused by unity, it was caused by fear. I stared at the projection, feeling something heavy and strange settle in my chest. So, the universe didn't break because humans and aliens got along. It broke because they did. She nodded. And reopening the bond between our kinds may heal what was never meant to be separated. Before we could process that hopeful yet terrifying revelation, the Queen Mother arrived, descending with a retinue of guards, her long ears rigid with determination. "You should not have come here," she said, anger trembling beneath her voice. But this time I didn't hide behind my wife. I stepped forward, even though my robe nearly tripped me. "Your Majesty, I know I'm not exactly royal material. I know I talk too much and smell faintly of bakery products. But I love your daughter, and I'm not just a fragile human, at least not anymore." Her eyes narrowed. "And what have you become?" I swallowed. "Someone who chooses courage even when his knees disagree. Someone who wants to heal what's broken. Someone who won't run away from family, even when it's trying to vaporize him." My wife's hand slipped into mine, warm and steady. "Mother," she said softly, "we are not the threat you fear. We are the bridge." The Queen Mother looked at us, really looked. Her long ears trembled faintly, not with anger but with a grief she had carried too long. "I have lost much to that ancient wound," she whispered. "I feared losing you as well." "You won't," my wife said, "but let us build something new." Silence echoed through the chamber until finally the Queen Mother lowered her crystalline staff. "Very well. I will not stand against what fate has bound." Relief hit me so hard my knees nearly gave up on life again. The return to the Sky Palace was quiet, almost peaceful. The Queen Mother walked ahead of us, no longer floating like judgment incarnate. The AI welcomed us back cheerfully, offering celebratory snacks, which I absolutely accepted. Later, standing on a balcony overlooking a field of drifting starlight, my wife leaned against me, her long ears brushing my cheek. "You have changed," she murmured. "Yeah," I admitted. "I used to worry about rent. Now I worry about cosmic rifts and galactic politics, so growth." She laughed softly, the sound warm as sun.